Before you even do your first bodybuilding show, you should know this. And know this is not going to be a fancy video with some cool clips, transitions, and some sound effects. I'm just here to give it to you straight. So before you sign up for your first bodybuilding show, there are really a few things I really wish somebody would have sat me down and told me. Not to scare me out of competing, but just not to hype it up either. Just telling me the truth, because bodybuilding can give you some incredible moments, but it can also expose the things about yourself that you didn't even know were there, as long as you truly don't understand the person that you are. I'm not saying this as somebody on the outside looking in. I'm truly saying this as somebody who I've myself competed. I've turned IFBB Pro, and then I've had to have some very real conversations with myself afterwards. So let me start with how I even got into competing in the first place, okay? I didn't compete because it was some lifelong dream that I just had as a kid. I didn't grow up saying I wanted to be a bodybuilder. I truly didn't even know competing was a thing that we can even do. The real reason I started competing was because all of my friends were competing once I moved here to San Diego. They were prepping, doing shows. They were all talking about their conditioning, their stage weight, their placings. And because I was already heavy in the gym and training hard and already had the discipline, it just felt like the natural next step at the time. And at that time, it made sense. So I thought, why not? Let's see how far I could take this. But that's the first question I really want you to think about. Why are you even doing this in the first place? Because that answer matters way more than what most people even realize. Here's the truth that doesn't even get said enough. The show itself is not the goal. The process is. A lot of people think that the stage is the payoff, but really it's not. The stage is one day, if that makes sense. Sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes it's even less. What actually shapes you is everything that leads up to it, which is the discipline, the structure, the sacrifice, and the consistency over all the months of being on prep. And in my case, that process was intense. So I prepped for 7 months for my very first show, 7 months of structure, dieting, training, cardio, sacrifice, and even when I finally stepped on the stage, I won Mr. USA on my first go-round, on my very first attempt, and earned my IFBB Pro card. And yeah, at the time, I was truly happy. I was proud, and I celebrated. But here's the part that most people don't expect. Winning didn't complete me. There wasn't some magical moment afterwards where everything just clicked and I suddenly felt fulfilled. Instead, it started to bring things to the surface that I hadn't really dealt with yet. Body dysmorphia, insecurities, constant comparisons, feeling like I just never was big enough, lean enough, or even good enough. And that's something a lot of competitors truly deal with, but very few actually talk about. Because when you tie your identity to how you look, or to winning, or to social validation, the bar just continues to move higher and higher. And instead of feeling fulfilled, you feel the pressure to maintain or outdo what you've already done. That's important for you to really hear, because bodybuilding doesn't fix those insecurities. It only amplifies it. Now, let's talk about something that no one prepares for either: the money. Competing is expensive. Let me say that again. Competing is expensive. I'm talking crazy, period. Flights, hotels, rental cars, coaches, food and supplements, your show registration, the federation card, posing coach, tanning, makeup, hair, nails, bikini or board shorts, like your photo and your video packages. You can easily spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on a single show alone. And here's the part that truly surprises a lot of people, is that most bodybuilder shows don't even pay a prize money. You're not doing this for a paycheck. You're literally only doing it for the experience, the exposure, and maybe, just maybe, a shot at a pro card, which brings me to something that a lot of people continue to avoid talking about directly: PEDs. In non-drug tested organization, yes, some competitors will be using steroids. They will be using performance enhancing drugs. That's just the reality. And that can absolutely be a factor when you're standing on stage comparing your physique to others. You need to know that going in, so that you don't take it personally or you don't feel blindsided by it. But I want to be very clear about this. I do not recommend PEDs for most people. And I say most people because PEDs add more cost, but they also add more health risks. They add more complexity. And if somebody chooses to go that route, it should only be because they truly intentionally are trying to turn pro and make bodybuilding a real part of their livelihood. Not just to say I have a title. That's dumb. There's no point of damaging your body long term just to chase a pro card with no plan afterwards, because a pro card alone does not guarantee any money, sponsorships, or success. It's simply an entry ticket to a higher level of competition. And if PEDs aren't something you want to touch, 100% natural drug tested leagues do exist, and they are a great option. There's no shame in that at all. You need to compete in the lane that aligns with your health, your values, and your long-term goals. Now, here's another a very important part of my story, right? So after I turned pro, I didn't stay in the sport because it aligned with my overall goals. I stayed because of expectations from other people, expectations from the industry, expectations that once you turn pro, you're supposed to keep pushing and chasing and chasing and chasing and pushing and pushing and pushing. But the truth is, it didn't align with the bigger picture of my life. Over time, that started to affect my relationship with the gym, my relationship at home, and my relationship with others as well. Instead of being something that I love and I used to use it as a tool to build my life, it started to feel like an obligation, like something I was doing to meet external expectations instead of my internal purpose. That was a hard conversation to have with myself, but it was one I was willing to accept, because choosing my alignment over my ego doesn't mean that I failed. It just means that I grew. And the same, goes for you as well. That's why I say this now. Your first show should be intentional. It should align with your goals, your finances, your health, the life you actually want to build, not pressure, not comparison, not expectations from other people, especially not that. Your first show is not about winning. It's about learning how your body responds, learning how your mind responds, learning whether this path is actually something that fits you, because it's going to be heavy questions that you're going to run into that you're going to have to answer within yourself. And remember this, stage conditioning is not real life conditioning either. The version of you that steps on stage is not meant to be maintained. Post-show rebound is real. Your hunger is real. Mood swings are real. And a lot of people struggle afterwards because no one warned them about all of these things that come about. I'm not saying, again, any of this to discourage you. I'm only saying it so that you go into this with your eyes wide open. Bodybuilding can be powerful when you respect it. But if you chase it without any clarity, it can take more than it gives. So if you're thinking about your first show, take it seriously. Learn the process. Choose the right federation, respect your health above all else, respect your finances, because we need that money, and make sure it aligns with the life that you actually want, because the real win isn't the trophy. It's self-awareness, it's your growth, and it's your clarity. As always, like and subscribe to the channel. You get 10% off a Gymshark using code MAC10, plus major deals from Rule 1 if you use code MAC anytime you shop. Leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you at the next one.